Behind me, we have two of the very best gaming PCs 500 euros could buy, but one of them is completely brand new and another one is slightly weird. But more on that later. So, how did we get here? Let's start by building the new one. For the processor, you would not believe this, but the best new CPU for a $500 PC in 2023 is actually a Ryzen 5 3600.
What? No, alright. I know that sounds bad.
If I lost some of you here, please wait, because it actually makes sense in the end. Even if it is 4 years old and 2 generations behind at this point, it is still sold new. And for a reasonably low price. Our motherboard of choice, or more like the cheapest AM4 motherboard on the market for me, was this ASRock A520M HVS. If you're building this PC yourself and some MSI, Asus, Gigabyte, or whatever other variant is cheaper, you should probably go for that one instead. Yeah, but if you have the additional 20 to spare, definitely go for an overclockable B450 or B550 motherboard. And I know that this so far pales in comparison to the other PC you're about to see, but more on that later, because that one gets pretty crazy. As for the RAM, I went with this good RAM 3200 MHz 16GB kit, which was assembled in Poland. Make sure that the RAM you buy has XMP support, because it's just night and day difference in terms of performance from my experience. And as for the storage, a brand new 480GB SSD should do the trick. It will be enough for like 1.5 games, but if your budget allows another 20 euros extra, definitely upgrade to 1TB M.2 drive. By the way, to cool down the CPU, we got this Deepcool 200T cooler. I was debating with myself whether or not I should go for a stock cooler and 1TB SSD or this cooler and 500 gigs of storage, but I have decided that keeping the boost clocks higher is more important than having like 10 games installed at the same time. So I don't know, you are the judge on this one. Now, what GPU this dude came up with?
Hey y'all, come look at this.
Well, take a look at this. A brand new RTX, no, it's actually RX 6650 XT. Wow, it's actually been a while since I purchased a new GPU. Anyways, trust me, I was trying to squeeze in an RX 7600 or a 6700 here, but it's pretty much impossible with a strict $500 budget or euros budget, unless you live in the US. You guys have brand new components selling almost for free there. Is this 700 watt PSU a danger to my neighborhood?
Broke the lights. Oh.
Yes, but because everything in this PC is covered with a 2-year warranty or more,
We do not care.
all jokes aside, these silence units are honestly pretty good from my experience, but emit annoying CS flashbang sound when the PCs are off sometimes. And we will cram everything in this, the cheapest PC case in the country, which doesn't look good, obviously. Time for the smoothest transition in YouTube's history. Now for the other PC. This could have gone many ways, such as PC, which I was trying to get for 260.
Whoa.
Sell the GPU and CPU and start with a basically free motherboard, case, RAM and PSU, or this 12-core editing beast I found for 350 with no graphics card. But in the end, I went with something that you could easily put yourself together and get maximum performance in games. So the best used CPU on the current market is a brand new Ryzen 5 5600. I'm serious right now. For 120 euros, I couldn't find a better processor even if it was used, and probably it's the same for you. Anything older than Intel's 10th gen just doesn't compete, and anything newer than that is overpriced. So the only way I could have done better is to hunt down a used 5600X, but at the time they were going for around 20 to 30 euros extra. Just know that it is possible to find one for 115, 120. What about a used motherboard?
Damn, this motherboard stinks. Cameraman, sniff that. cameraman, you good?
I don't know what's going on with the used AM4 motherboards, but there are like 5 ads in the country of 3 million and they're asking as much as new ones go for. So for the motherboard, we got a new motherboard. RAM, same story. Unless I wanted to go for a single channel setup, which is not worth it, in the span of a week, I couldn't find anything worth buying. Brand new 16GB 3200 MHz G-Skill kit should do the trick. Now for some actually cool finds. So for 25 euros I managed to get this 1TB Kingston SSD, 15 euros got us this Corsair TX650 PSU with a cut cable, and as for the GPU I got the sketchiest RTX 3060 Ti on the market, and of course it was made by Man Lee. I swear, in a couple of years, if we don't stop the Chinese, we will be pairing these with Long Dong motherboards and Joe Mama's RAM. And I mean, just take a look at it. I already know that some of you are saying it's fake! 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 And yeah, it literally looks like one, but actually it's the real deal. From my experience, looks are one of the most important factors people consider when buying a PC. And only for this reason, I went with this brand new Gembered Fornax 4000 case just because I want to sell the PC afterwards and maybe make a profit. So it really depends on you. Could you save on a free ghetto dumpster case and have 32 gigs of RAM or a Ryzen 5 5600X instead? Yes, absolutely, you have the choice. Although I do it only if I plan to keep the PC for a really long time and you're not in the process of flipping a PC from 150 to 1000 euros. And yeah, I believe you don't want to sit through 5 hours of pure benchmarking, so let's quickly compare these bad boys side by side. And starting things off with the Fortnite, as it was the first game tested, and of course our Man Lee couldn't run past 93% of utilization. Now I'm starting to realize why it was so cheap, but even so it beat our completely new PC, and for the record I didn't use any upscaling, just medium settings. And why underage kids are allowed to play CS2? Anyways, over a 10-minute Dust 2 deathmatch, I managed to get these numbers on 1080p low, and you can clearly see the difference between the two processors, which is much more than I expected, honestly. Warzone was not able to fully utilize our PCs once again, as it is always with Warzone. Like 1080p lowest or 1440p medium, the FPS numbers were the same, and we got these benchmark results. In Starfield, walking outside where the FPS numbers seem to be the lowest, I got these numbers, and they honestly shocked me, because before benchmarking I firmly believed that the 6650 XT would take the win here, as the game is optimized better for AMD graphics cards, but it's not the case here. So yeah, it is worth mentioning that in every region prices vary, so you could theoretically build something better for the same amount of money, because it usually doesn't get any worse than here price wise. But the goal of this video was to show you that with some smart savings, by smart I mean you're gambling on things not breaking down, you have the choice of building yourself a much nicer PC which has the looks to back up the great performance it delivers. To see what kind of PC we built to play Starfield, click here, and yeah, let's meet there.